Janaranjana Yamunatira Vanachari Yamunatira Vanachari Yamunatira Vanachari Yamunatira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Shri Harinam Sankirtan Yagya ki, Nanti Koti Vaishnavrinda ki, Rantra Srimad Bhagavatam ki, thank you. Nitai Gaur Premanande. We should actually just be doing that for the rest of the class, shouldn't we? Just kirtan. Because that's what the Bhagavatam is all about. But we need to hear from Bhagavatam to be convicted that we should just be doing that. So it's nice. It's, Hare Krishna Prabhu. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. to reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3, Chapter 15, entitled Description of the Kingdom of God, Text 19. Mandāra-kunda-kurabotpala-campakārṇa punnāga-nāga-bakulāmbuja-pārijāta gandhe rcite tulasikābharaṇena tasyā yasmiṁs tapaḥ sumanaso bahu mānayanti mandāra-kunda-kurabotpala-campakārṇa punnāga-nāga-bakulāmbuja-pārijāta gandhe rcite tulasikābharaṇena tasyā yasmiṁs tapaḥ sumanaso bahu mānayanti mandāra-kunda-kurabotpala-campakārṇa punnāga-nāga-bakulāmbuja-pārijāta gandhe rcite tulasikābharaṇena tasyā yasmiṁs tapaḥ sumanaso bahu mānayanti mandāra-kunda-kurabotpala-campakārṇa campakārṇa punnāga-nāga-bakulāmbuja-pārijāta gandhe rcite tulasikābharaṇena tasyā yasmiṁs tapaḥ sumanaso bahu mānayanti mandāra-kunda-kurabotpala-campakārṇa punnāga-nāga-bakulāmbuja-pārijāta gandhe rcite tulasikābharaṇena tasyā yasmiṁs tapaḥ sumanaso bahu mānayanti mandāra-kunda-kurabotpala-campakārṇa punnāga-nāga-bakulāmbuja-pārijāta so bahu Matajis. mandāra-kunda-kurabotpala-campakārṇa nāga-bakulāmbuja-pārijāta gandhe rcite tulasikābharaṇena tasyā yasmiṁs tapaḥ sumanaso bahu mānayanti mandāra kunda kuraba utpala campaka arṇa flower punnāga nāgakeśara bakula ambuja lily pārijāta gandhe fragrant arcite being worshipped tulasika tulasikābharaṇena, with a garland, tasyā, of her, yasmiṁs, in which Vaikuṇṭha, tapaḥ, austerity, su-manasaḥ, good-minded, Vaikuṇṭha-minded. Wow, that's nice. Bahu, very much. Mānayanti, glorify. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki. Although flowering plants like the mandāra-kunda-kurabotpala-campakārṇa, utpala, campaka, arṇa, punnāga-nāga-keśara, bakula, lily, and pārijāta are full of transcendental fragrance, they are still conscious of the austerities performed by tulasī. For tulasī is given special preference by the Lord, who garlands himself with tulasī leaves. Purport. The importance of tulasī leaves is very clearly mentioned here. Tulasī plants and their leaves are very important in devotional service. Devotees are recommended to water the tulasī tree every day and collect the leaves to worship the Lord. One time, an atheistic Swami remarked, "What is the use of watering the tulasī plant? It is better to water eggplant. By watering the eggplant, one can get some fruits. But what is the use of watering the tulasī?" These foolish creatures, unacquainted with devotional service, sometimes play havoc with the education of people in general. The most important thing about the spiritual world is that there is no envy amongst the devotees there. This is true even amongst the flowers, which are all conscious of the greatness of tulasī. In the Vaikuṇṭha world, entered by the four Kumars, even the birds and flowers are conscious of the service of the Lord. Om Jnana-timirandasya Jnananjala-shalakaya Chakshurunmulitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtang Shtapitang Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Gadamayam Tadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yutāpada Kamalang Shri Gurun Vaishnavangscha Shri Rupang Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatam Vitam Tang Sajivam Satvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishnati Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakan Vitangscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dino Bandho Jagatpate Gopisha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sutta Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vangshakalpa Turbhyascha Kripa Sindhubhye Vacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadata Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So, this verse is giving us a very intimate glimpse into the consciousness of the spiritual world. And if you want to know where you are, you just look around you and you see, is there envy? And immediately you'll know whether you're in the material world or in the spiritual world. Envy is only found in the material world, or you could actually say, in the material world is found nothing but envy. And in the spiritual world is only prema. But from outside perspective, they look very similar. In fact, in some cases, they look exactly the same. So how can I say that this material world is only filled with envy? Because the purpose of the material world is to give the living entity a chance to realize its impossible desires. we want to usurp the position of Krishna, which is impossible because we are infinitesimally small and Krishna is infinitesimally huge. So we're trying to occupy his position, it's not possible. But Krishna gives us a chance to do that, and therefore he's created the material world so that he could cover our intelligence, so that we can then, under the influence of the false ego, assume different types of bodies so that we can try and realize those desires. And at the end of all of that, you come to realize, what a stupid idea. And at that moment, the Vaishnava enters into your life. You can't just step back into the material world because you've kind of like traumatized yourself for billions of lifetimes in trying to be something else that you're not. And so you can't just step back into, you need some reformation. And then the process of Vaidhi sadhana bhakti is offered by the scriptures and the acharyas for this reformation so that we can become qualified to enter into the spiritual world, because we've trained ourselves to be self-centered. It's not something you can just suddenly undo. It takes some time. Although how much time it can take is completely relative. Yes, time is not time is not made up of, like, the word is on my tongue. You could say divisible units. It depends on the sadhaka, like how much time you want to spend. Like Prabhupada said, it takes one moment only to become a pure devotee. But you do not want to be pure devotee, that is why you are not. He's exposing us. But it's okay, the process of Vaidhi sadhana bhakti is there. Anyway, what is 1 or 2 lifetimes in perspective of, 1,000,000,000,000, trillion, billion lifetimes? It's nothing, it's like a single moment. So therefore, because we're in this life, this is like very much like a big deal for us. But from the objective perspective, it's really nothing, it's really nothing. So it's really amazing. We can get to actually go back, almost like in an instant. But I'm just contradicting myself. I said you cannot just turn back, but now I'm saying you can. So in the spiritual world, the culture there is a culture of appreciation and gratitude, where everybody is honest about themselves. This Trinadapi Sunichena is embedded in everybody's hearts. So this is just their natural being. It's like just what they are. And so when they see the service rendered of another devotee, they see it perfectly as it is, and everybody is inspired by it. And naturally, some devotees are able to render better service than others. Now in the material world, we don't like to hear that because we judge our value of ourselves by like a linear standard like that. You put like a ruler and you say like, how many centimeters are you like on this scale, right? And then we say, oh, he's first, he's second, so therefore he's more, I'm less. This is like, the ahankara, the ego is making these comparisons. But in the spiritual world, it doesn't matter, because everybody gives 100%. That's what matters, that you're giving 100%. Like the past time when the Vanaras were building the bridge to Lanka, and I've heard 2 stories, either it's a spider or a little squirrel, but there's a small creature who was also helping to build the bridge, but just little kind of pebbles at a time, and Hanuman almost stood on him and said, what you doing here, we're building this bridge, don't you know, we've got no time to waste, Sita's waiting for us. And then Ram said, no, he's also doing his service, please let him do it. He's giving 100%. His service is equal to yours. You can lift mountains at a time, he can do a pebble. What is the difference? The heart is the same. So in the spiritual world, everybody sees it like that. And therefore these flowers, they have no problem whatsoever seeing that tulasī is the number one amongst us, without a doubt. No doubt. Everybody agrees. Similarly, when they looking at all the different Vaishnavas in in the spiritual world, in the Brhat Bhagavatam, they're discussing this also. And everybody agrees that the inhabitants of Vrindavan are just like unequaled by anybody in the whole spiritual world. And of all the inhabitants of Vrindavan, the gopis have a special flavor that pleases Krishna that like nobody else can. And amongst them, Srimad Radharani reigns supreme. And she's unequaled and unparalleled. And everybody just submits themselves to her, acknowledging. So this kind of attitude is, you cannot find it in the spiritual world, because anybody with, attachment to their false ego, they'll never be able to stomach this idea. This need to compete is there. And the envy means that you bring that person down so you can come up. Envy is not just you want something, but you also don't want the other person to have it. Like the man who he found a little lamp stranded on the beach, and he rubs the lamp. And because he heard in stories, of a genie, and he's just in his imagination, and poof, actually the genie comes out, And he's like, wow, okay, this is actually happening. And the genie says, I'm not a regular genie. I'll give you any wishes you want, as many as you want, but your neighbor will receive twice as much as you. He says, okay, no problem. He says, I want what's a fancy car that people like in India a lot? Do they like Mercedes or BMW? I'm not like, let's say a fancy, S-Class Mercedes-Benz. Mercedes-Benz, neighbor, 2. It's like, it hurts. I mean, he's got his car, but the neighbor has 2. And he says, okay, I would like a 2-story house. Neighbor has a 4-story house. I can make mine 4. Neighbor 8. I would like, so he goes on like this. And the envy in him is boiling so much, he cannot tolerate it. And he sits down and he thinks. And he says, genie, I want you to take out one of my eyes. This is envy. That you're even willing to cut off your own arm to harm another person. And this is what Rakshasa mentality is. They consume everything in pursuance of their desires. And it harms himself ultimately, like Ravan. It completely destroyed him. It completely destroyed his fame, all his austerities. Everything he had accumulated that was good was finished because of that. He was willing to sacrifice that. So that's like clearly demonic mentality. But in the spiritual world, that competition is also there. But when they see the service of another, they think like, they feel inspired by the service of the other devotee, and they think like, I should do better, I can do better. And then their energy is just going into making the offering better. And then the other devotee sees it like that as well. And then they also think like, hey, he's stepping up his game, I should step up my game too. And this exponential growth upwards, and this is the spiritual world where everything by every single moment is like infinitely more than the previous moment because of this consciousness, and everybody is contributing to this every single moment. It's inconceivable. And and like this, everybody is supporting each other. It is feeding, it is Krishna-centered. Everything is about Krishna's pleasure. And so now another thing about what's coming out in this verse is about the beauty of the spiritual world. And that there are lots of flowers. The spiritual world is lots of flowers. The spiritual world is a very beautiful place. It's a very, especially Vrindavan, it's a very wild place. Nobody's cultivating the forest. It's just kind of doing its own thing, right? There's nobody farming there. Like it's wild. Certain places you can't pass through. You need to kind of chop it a little bit. And Krishna likes it like that. Krishna really likes it like that. And so this mentioning of the flowers and the beauty that it represents is very important for us as Vaishnavas. And I find it's very interesting, like in astrology, the Shukra Graha, this Venus planet, is the planet governing beauty and aesthetics. and also that it is the planet which imparts devotion. It imparts devotion. So it's often seen that devotees who've practiced devotional service in their past life, they've got a very strong and well-situated Venus. Because by the activities you're doing, you're kind of investing in your planets for the next life. So in devotional service, you're actually like working on your Venus planet in that sense. Although we're not thinking it, but this is one of the side effects, of devotional service. It's not to say that if somebody has a good Venus, that means he was a devotee, but devotees do have that. So, and also, Venus is also the planet which dissolves boundaries. It dissolves boundaries, and that's why somebody who has a certain situated Venus, it imparts to them psychic abilities where they're able to understand the minds of others, because it dissolves the boundaries between like my mind and yours. So then, so I'm finding very interesting how this devotion, this kind of almost like a psychic connection and beauty, they're all coming together in the same theme, because in a devotional community also, everybody shares the same mind. There's just one mind. That's our oneness. And in the spiritual world, everybody is connected to that. So therefore, everybody's thoughts are known to everybody else. And that's why we can't be there. Because our thoughts are not compatible with that. Our thoughts they'll disturb the environment. So, did you know that Mayapur, where Mayapur came from, like who founded Mayapur? Does anybody know? Lord Chaitanya? Close. Radharani. Yeah. She planted a garden here. That was Mayapur. I want to read the story because it's very beautiful. This is from the Ananta Samhita, and this is a conversation between Shiva and Parvati. Lord Shiva told Parvati, as a bee plays in a lotus, Krishna was enjoying with Viraj in the pleasant forest groves of Vrindavan. Moon-faced, doe-eyed Radhika heard this news from one Saki and hastily ran to find Krishna. Seeing that Radha was coming, Krishna suddenly disappeared and Viraj became a river. When Srimati Radharani arrived there, she could not find them. Absorbed in thoughts of Krishna, Radha began to think of how to attract him away from Vraj. She gathered her Sakis together between the Ganga and Yamuna rivers. She created a beautiful place, decorated with creepers and trees and filled with male and female bumblebees. Deer and bucks were happily enjoying and they wandered about, and the whole area was filled with the fragrance of jasmine, malika and malati flowers. That transcendental abode was adorned with tulasī forest and decorated with various groves. On Radha's order, the Ganga and Yamuna, with their pleasant water and banks, acted as a moat to protect the garden, so it made an island. Cupid himself, along with springtime, eternally resides there, and the birds constantly sing the auspicious names of Krishna. So these birds which are chirping, they're chanting Krishna, Krishna. Radha, dressed in colorful cloth, then began to play a beautiful melody on a flute in order to attract Krishna. Attracted by that melody, Krishna appeared in that enchanting place. Radha, the attractor of Krishna's mind, seeing that Krishna had come, held his hand and experienced ecstatic delight. Then Krishna, understanding Radha's mood, spoke in a voice choked with love. O lovely-faced Radha, you are my very life. There is no one more dear to me than you. Therefore I will never leave you. Just for me, you have created this wonderful place. Staying with you, I will transform this place, filling it with new sakis and groves. The devotees will glorify this place as Nava Vrindavan, New Vrindavan. As this place is like an island, the wise will call it Navadvip. By my order, all the holy places will reside here. Because you have created this place for my pleasure, I will live here eternally. Those people who come here and worship us will eternally attain our eternal service in the mood of the Sakis. O dear Radha, like Vrindavan, this place is extremely pure. If anyone comes here just once, he will obtain the results of going to all sacred places. He will quickly attain devotional service which satisfies us. O Parvati, Lord Shiva continued, I have described to you the reason for the appearance of Navadvip. When heard by mankind, this narration removes all sins and bestows devotional service. Whoever rises early in the morning and with devotion to Gaura recites or hears the story of Navadvip's creation will certainly attain Gauranga. That's amazing. So Mayapur is actually was because of a garden. I find the interesting thing, the first thing Radharani did was she made a garden. She wanted to attract Krishna. She thought, how am I going to attract Krishna? She thought, I'm going to make it pretty. I'm going to plant flowers, I'm going to plant trees, I'm going to bring, and then naturally the animals will want to be there too. And then she played the flute, and then Krishna came. So, spiritual life necessitates beauty. Devotion necessitates beauty. By its nature, devotion is beautiful. And therefore, if one looks inside of one's own house, and one can see the state of the beauty in one's house, not order, beauty. Because if you have kids, it's always chaos. It's always messy, but it can still be beautiful. Then one can understand like the level of devotion, like in that person's house. So it's, or in one's own house. We use this to reflect on our own condition. So, and that also means that beauty, or increasing beauty, is a way to attract Krishna to our lives. Because this is what we're trying to do. We're trying to attract Krishna to us. We're trying to get his attention. We're trying to say like, please give me some mercy. I'm over here. He's like, you're jumping. Like, like Jayapataka Maharaj, he was here in the temple, and he's there, and everybody's trying to like be in a line of sight, just in the hope that Maharaj will lift his head up and just gaze past you like that, and you just feel like, yes, he saw me, I got mercy. So like that. So in the same way, we're trying to attract Krishna's attention like that. We're trying to attract the attention of the sadhus who are representatives of Krishna, like Maharaj. So, and if he doesn't gaze at us, we feel a little bit like, but that doesn't make us stop. That makes, maybe then you run around and you wait for him again there. Or even if he has seen you, you still do the same because you want him to see you twice. It's like, why just once, And like this, if you're mercy hunters, then you will get the mercy. But if you just give up or you think, oh, it's too difficult or anything like that, then the process will be a bit slower for you. But still the mercy will be there. So we have to be like, we have to be eager for the mercy. We have to be like nectar detectors. We have to develop this. You can, there's nectar nearby. Where is it? Like, yeah. Like it's bona fide to steal Mahaprasadam. It is. But if you get caught, you also, you'll get punished, but it's still bona fide. Just don't get caught. So, because we want the mercy, and we need the mercy actually. We cannot do without the mercy. And in fact, Mayapur is Audarya Dham. It's the land where mercy is just being thrown everywhere. It's like, regardless of qualification. And regarding this point, so now we might think, I want to make something to please Krishna. I want to make something beautiful, And but then one might think, well, Radharani made this garden here in Mayapur. This garden is gone. we put concrete on top of it. And what can I do in comparison to Radharani? And so, and in fact, in the Bhagavatam, it does say that it is a natural sentiment of a devotee to feel that his service is inadequate. Because when they've given 100%, they feel, it's not enough. It has to be more. And then they improve themselves, they make themselves better, and then they're able to give more. And every time they do service, they feel like this, because they want to give Krishna as much pleasure as they can. And so how then do we actually do something that may please Krishna? And we can pray to Radharani to become vessels through which she can act to please Krishna. Because everything, the entire cosmos, the entire universe, the entire existence is just an exchange between Radha and Krishna, and Krishna enjoying Radha's company and Radharani like pleasing him. in these various ways. And the way that they all expand, they're just having an exchange between themselves. And then here we come and we think like, oh, this is about me. And then you get sent that way. So, so we can pray to her. But one might think, oh, I'm not so advanced, how I can approach Radharani. She's so unobtainable, unapproachable. And the answer is that it's true. We are very unqualified. But do not underestimate the mercy of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Because he came to give that. That's what he came to give. There's this Gopi Prema Bhav, there's this pure devotional service in the mood of the maidservants of Raj. This is what he came to give to everybody. And he came to Kali Yuga to do that of all times. So therefore these considerations are not required. They're required in as much as we should just be honest about our fallen state. And once we understand how fallen we are, we'll understand the need for that mercy and we'll be greedy for it. And then when you take that mercy, you will experience that. And it will completely bewilder you. Because how can somebody as fallen as me experience something so intimate and high? Because I'm so unqualified. It can only be due to the mercy of my spiritual master. So our spiritual masters are the connection to that, this parampara, this unbroken disciplic lineage coming from Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So in that way, we can pray to them because we are connected to them through the acharyas. And in the same way, we have access to our spiritual master at all times, whether he's physically present or not. To Srila Prabhupada, Bhaktisiddhanta Sarasvati, Bhaktivinoda Thakur, all our acharyas, the 6 Goswamis, these personalities are there in the books, so we can connect to them. We learn something about their characters, and then we can connect to them. We have something to meditate on. And they talk back to us in various ways. Because one might think like, I'm not qualified to hear the deities speak to me. Let's say, for example, like you pray to the deities and you're thinking, I'm not qualified to hear the Lord's voice. But your qualification does not determine Krishna's ability to talk to you. Krishna's not limited by your limitations. He can do what he wants. And he does exactly that. So he can talk to you if he wants to. And somebody who's taken the shelter of somebody like Srila Prabhupada becomes dear to Krishna also. Why wouldn't Krishna then want to talk to you? Because you're dear to him. Namam Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutala. He's very dear to Krishna because he's taken shelter at his lotus feet. And when we take shelter at such a person's lotus feet, Prabhupada, then we also become dear to Krishna. So all of these things are possible and they do happen, but we sometimes it happens to us, but we push it away thinking that, no, I'm not qualified. But actually you should just open your heart. Don't be afraid. It's like there are scriptures, there are devotees to help guide us, because you might be afraid, if I'm just imagining it. It's okay. Krishna will tell you if you're imagining it. He's there helping you in the heart. So he will help you out, so don't be afraid. So that's why we have the rules, regulations to keep things safe. So as long as we act within those parameters, almost anything goes. So this is where we want to be, where the devotion just flows out of our heart. And then naturally beauty will just manifest everywhere. And there'll just be like countless gardens everywhere full of flowers. And then there'll be so many flowers for devotees to offer. It'll put all of these flower wallahs out of business, unfortunately. But actually they still have a business because they'll go and plant it and they'll go and take it to devotees who may be a bit lazy to pick, or maybe they're old, so they won't be out of business exactly. But so this is what Mayapur is destined to become. So now the other thing is that it says here that Shiva was saying that, or Krishna was saying to Radha, that he will quickly attain devotional service which satisfies us all. So that means that the purification required to get that will be supplied by Krishna. It's not just that, poof, now suddenly it's there. You're going to have to go through nitty-gritty, dirty, like an art and a vriti to get there. But Krishna will help you, and he can make it very quick, and he can also make it relatively painless. It will still be painful for us, but compared to what we're supposed to suffer, it's really incomparable. That's very kind of Krishna to be like that. So that means that it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough, and Mayapur is a very intense place. It's a very intense place. Like in my consciousness, it's like so much going on all the time, so much purification. It's very overwhelming. But at the same time, it is Krishna's giving us what we want, which is devotional service. And in Mayapur is a very good place to develop that. And so I'm very grateful that I can live here. So, in conclusion, this beauty, the world is starved for beauty. You go to New York City, you go to San Diego, you go to London, you go to Cape Town, you go to all these cities. They're horrible places. People are miserable. They starved for beauty. And it's interesting, the first thing the demons do is they cut down all nature so that they can put the iron factories and stuff on top of there. So, because they're opposed to Krishna. They don't want things to be beautiful because they know Krishna likes it. So out of the envy, they make it unpleasant for themselves. So beauty makes you feel good. Flowers make you feel good. And they also make an atmosphere very conducive for devotional service. So we want to create such an atmosphere where devotional services just flows from the art effortlessly. And then all these problems that we have, they become eclipsed by all the nectar, which is just flowing out of everybody's heart. And so plant some flowers. Just make a little... Imagine if every devotee in Gauranagar, you get these little things which you clip onto your windowsills, and like you have little flowers, little... Imagine if you walk through Gauranagar and every windowsill has like some flowers, At least it's a good step forward. But the beauty that we especially will want is natural beauty, where things are in harmony with nature, and like Radharani had made to attract Krishna's mind. So we should be thinking about that, like making like a garden inside of ourselves, but also, a physical garden is also pretty good. It's like, he likes it, he likes it. It's much nicer chanting in a garden, your japa, than chanting like in a car or in an airport or even in my apartment. Garden is such a nicer place. You're sitting by the beach and you're chanting, it's nothing compares to it. Mind is so clear, crispy clear. It's like such attentive rounds, it's easy to chant. So, yeah, so let's make it beautiful. Okay. And there is, anybody has some comments or questions to ask, please, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, very nice class.
Thank you.
A long time ago, one devotee from Vrindavan, he came to Mayapur and he met with me, and he told that he imagined that Mayapur is so nice, so green. So when he saw the brick and concrete building here, so many building here, so he feel very pain inside. So he very unsatisfied to see the Mayapur. Mayapur created Srimati Radharani, and not different from spiritual world. So nowadays, so something happened here. So the resident of Gaurnagar, Abhayanagar, Mahaprabhu's Nagar, Abhayanagar means Abhay Charana Arvind Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada's Nagar. The residents, they saw in the morning, their path is break down. So they surprised what happened. When I heard first time this, I think what happened here. So we are all God brothers, sisters. So that's inside something happened here. They feel some uneasy say they are coming from long distance to see the temple deities. There is some higher purpose. So first time they feel surprised. Why the road is cut down? So you told the story, the genie story. So first time when I heard that, my mind came. This story came in my mind. The enviousness. Same got our brother and devotees, but we are for higher purpose. We are doing something here. So, but after some time, I realized there is something higher purpose, a higher authority. They are thinking some nice things. This is my comment and question. You tell something.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Yeah, I think you said it well, Prabhu. I think it's it's not black and white, the situation where it's like this or that. It's like it's not always clear, what's happening, or whether something is good or whether something has been done with the right intention or not. But one thing is for sure is that, like Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he's in full control of what happens in the Dham. So, in that sense, we can always derive benefit from whatever happens to us, even if we are wronged. Even if we are wronged, we can always derive benefit from that. And Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj, he says it so nicely. He says, every single moment is an opportunity to learn how to love and how to give love. It's a learning opportunity. And ultimately that's actually between us and Krishna, because that's actually all there is just Krishna, and there's me looking at him, bewildered by his external energy. So I think in that spirit, when we see it like that, then we can always derive benefit regardless of whether something that's happening is right or wrong. And with regards to that, it's like different devotees have been called to do different services, and so if there's like a problem, it's not everybody's problem to fix, or it's not everybody's service to fix that. So like without, but also sometimes within, Krishna can call you that I want you to like address this thing, yeah, and then it's appropriate. But otherwise, if it's not your service you can't take. Service is given. So I think that, so without commenting on like the nature of that whole thing, I think that we can see it transcendentally always, and there's always the correct perspective to take, and to see what value, what we can learn from it, how we can grow from it. But at the same time, if devotees feel that some mistake has been made, then there should be a way for them to express that and enter into a communication with that. And which is something which still needs to be developed. There's no proper forum for these kind of things yet. So a healthy society needs, Yudhisthira, anybody can come walk into the temple or into the palace and lodge a complaint or a concern to Yudhisthira. That's the way that they should do it. They should be available to individuals, not just a group, but individuals can come. Brahman comes and he says, "Oh, my son died at birth. What's the problem?" So so something like that is needed. So that otherwise, if it's not there, then all this mental platform stuff comes out, and then things are very unclear, and offenses get made, and people become very fried. So I think that's one thing devotees are feeling, is that they don't have a place to voice their feelings and their thoughts, and they are not being honored, because everybody's thoughts and feelings are important. In Yudhisthira's kingdom, everybody was happy. Everybody was happy. Not everybody was falling for rigs, but everybody was happy, because they were cared for by the king. It's possible if you just hear. You just need to want to hear. So I think that this is just what came up for me. In addition to your point, it's like that we should always see it like transcendentally, but we should strive for such a type of forum, so we have access to the leaders like this, so that we can enter into a dialogue, and then it doesn't become a fight, because actually everybody wants the same thing. Everybody just wants to be happy. Everybody just wants to be peaceful, and everybody just wants to chant their rounds and do some service, and have some prasadam and do some kirtan. That's all, so simple. And have some beauty. It has to be nice, look nice also. So it's not much to ask, So I think that with this dialogue we can attain that. So we've got some work to do, like in that regard. It's not easy. It's not easy. There, yes, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. It was really a nice lecture, and so during the lecture, I think it's mentioned in the purport. So there is no envy in the spiritual world among the devotees, but devotee have a thought of little enviousness with the Supreme Lord to enjoy independently. I think that I have a question from where that is coming from, because in the spiritual world everything is obviously pure and the consciousness is topmost pure. So that little enviousness to enjoy independently from the Supreme Lord, where that comes from?
It comes from our desire. Our desire. We have minute independence, which basically means we get to choose to aligning ourselves with our will or with Krishna's will. That's the extent of our choice. Antaranga Shakti or Bahiranga Shakti. That's what we get to choose. With the Tashta, so we can shift between that. So as soon as we desire to be, to act for our own interest, then Krishna supplies the necessary illusion for that to happen. Now, I'm going to give a crude example, like how this works. When you're dealing with a person who who's heavily traumatized, like post-traumatic stress, like they've been to wars, they've seen their friends like getting blown to bits next to them, it messes their mind up. So when you're speaking to such a person, there's certain triggers which activate this state, like into that person. So you'll be speaking to that person, and then a door will slam, bah! And it will trigger a memory of an explosion that has a similar sound. And then he's not seeing you anymore. You'll check, his eyes just suddenly change. He's not here with you anymore. He's completely somewhere else, reliving this bad experience, right? So in the same way, it's like he's still there with you, but he's in Maya, so to speak, compared to So I'm drawing this analogy to see how by our madness, we just disappear from that realm, even though we're still in the spiritual world, because this is also the spiritual world. Why? Because everything is the spiritual world, because everything's connected to Krishna. So there's no such thing as spiritual world and material world, only from our perspective, because when a cloud covers the sun, it looks like the sun's gone, so it looks different, and then we think it is different because it looks different. That's Maya. But so in the spiritual world, it's like that, it facilitates. And I'll just quickly give a little story from the Daivi Purana, which illustrates this point very nice, of Narada Muni asking Lord Krishna. They're walking through a desert place, and he asks Krishna, I want to understand your Maya potency. And Krishna says, okay, I'll explain to you, but I'm quite thirsty, can you get me some water? He says, sure. So he goes off and he goes to get the water. Do you know the story? It's a good story. And he come to a village, and I have to end after this, yeah. He comes to a village, and he goes around and he knocks on one door, and there's a Brahman is there, and he says, can I please have a glass of water, and says, sure, but please come inside, have some prasad, sit down, you're such a nice, saintly person, and so he satisfies him, and as he's about to leave, he says, I have a very qualified daughter, please marry my daughter, it's like, and he says okay, so he marries her, and he has kids with her, and this whole lila unfolds, And then at one point, now he's got a couple of kids, some of them are almost grown up, and then there's a flood, monsoon, and there's floods. And he's trying to frantically save all of his relatives and stuff, and he sees them all dying one by one, and he feels the pain, and he's the water's going up, and he's oh, and just as he dies, he opens his eyes, and he's standing in front of Krishna, and he says, so are you going to go and get my water or what? So this whole time, in just one moment, he experienced all of that. Krishna just asked him, go and get me some water. He never budged from that place. He never moved. Because the Maya potency, that whole experience was there. And Krishna's looking at him and says, so where's my water? So, do you understand the story, Prabhu? Do you understand it? Yeah. So, and for us, that's millions of lifetimes where that's happening. And when we come back, out of that, then your natural life, your normal life continues. as if that never happened. Maybe you'll think like, whew, that was hectic, and then you're like, okay, so and then you go on. It's like, you just shake it off. It's like, wow, not going to do that again. No way. So, yeah, thank you, Prabhu, for asking that. Okay, thank you very much. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki, Srila Prabhupada ki, Nitai Gaura Premanande, Haribol.